Hello, hello! This is Karen Evela from FashionStepByStep.com, and today I bring with me one of the lessons from my course, Watercolors for Fashion Illustration. In this lesson, we're gonna have so much fun painting blonde medium hair. Yay! Super exciting! So, this is a hairstyle I created for this lesson, but first, let's see the materials. You need your watercolor paper with the sketch of your hairstyle, watercolors, water, a mixing palette, and brushes. First layer of color. The colors I used to create blonde hair are these: violet, yellow ochre, and Payne's gray. I start mixing yellow ochre and violet until I have the color that is not too yellow nor too dark. Remember that the first layer of color is always the lightest one, so add water to the mix if you have to. Test your color if you want, and for me this shade is great, so let's move on. Now start painting the first layer. This time I'm using a medium brush, and I'm creating lines following the direction of the hair. This hairstyle has a half bun, and I start creating lines from the crown of the head to the bun. I make the hair that is closer to the bun or overlapping with it a bit darker than the rest. Then I continue with the rest of the hair, and I make straight strokes going from the top to the bottom. These strokes don't have to be thin, just make sure you leave some white spaces between strokes, so they look like the brightness of the hair. And keep creating strokes for the hair, now going from the bottom to the top and giving them the direction of your choice. As this is straight hair, the lines or strokes you create must look kinda straight. Now it's time for the bun. Create strokes following the direction of the bun. Make them darker or more intense where the hair overlaps. And make sure you leave white areas between strokes. Second layer of color. This layer should be darker than the first one. For that, I mix yellow ochre with violet, but this time I add more violet and less water. With a thin brush, create thin strokes following the direction of the hair, the same direction you followed on the first layer of color. Make the overlapping hair darker than the rest, like the hair below and near to the bun. Remember to leave white spaces between the strokes so the hair looks shiny and not like a giant blob. This layer of color shouldn't be all over the hairstyle. You can add strokes here and there to reinforce shadows and the hair shades. Third layer of color. Create a darker color for the hair. This time I mix the main color with a bit of Payne's gray. So, mix the three colors, yellow ochre, violet, and Payne's gray. You'll get a brown color and you can test it if you want. Then start creating more hair. With a thin brush, create thin strokes for the hair, especially on the roots and on the places where it overlaps with other pieces of the hair. For example, above and below the bun and on the twist of the bun. You can also add strokes along the rest of the hair. Remember, the darker the color, the less predominant it should be. And this is how you paint a blonde straight medium hairstyle. Hope you liked this design, and now it's your turn. Grab your materials, sketch the hairstyle, and paint it. See how easy it is to use your watercolors to create beautiful hair? Now you can get your fashion illustration ideas onto paper using watercolors with my course, Watercolors for Fashion Illustration. Enroll now and get access to more than 30 lessons and more than 30 videos, plus one monthly challenge to learn and improve your skills big time for only $29. More info and enrollment through the link. See you on the other side. Bye bye.